Welcome to my channel. And let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to speak English fluently, but had no one to talk to? I had the same problem. Until I tried something a little strange. I stood in front of my mirror and started talking every day for 30 days. And what happened after that completely surprised me. Have you ever tried speaking English to yourself in the mirror? Tell me in the comments, yes or no. Chapter 1. Day 1. Talking to a stranger who was me. I remember standing in front of the mirror on the very first day. It was quiet, too quiet. I looked into my own eyes and felt strange. My lips were dry. My hands were shaking a little. I opened my mouth to speak, but the words didn't come. It felt like I was meeting someone I didn't know, someone who looked like me but didn't sound like me. And that person didn't know how to speak English. "Hello," I finally said, almost in a whisper. I stared at my reflection. It stared back. No reply. Of course, no reply. But in that silence, I felt something shift. I had just spoken English not to a book, not to a teacher, but to myself. It was just one word, but it was the beginning. I didn't know what to say next. My mind was blank. So I repeated, "Hello, how are you?" I felt silly. I laughed. I rolled my eyes. I thought, this is stupid. I can't do this every day. But I kept standing there. Something deep inside told me, if you don't speak now, you'll never speak at all. So I took a breath and tried again. "I'm fine, thank you. And you?" I said it slowly, like a beginner, because I was a beginner, and beginners must start somewhere. That day, I didn't speak much, maybe 5 or 6 short sentences, but each one felt like a mountain I had climbed. I looked at myself, nodded, and said, "You did it." That was the end of day 1. The next morning, I almost didn't do it. I looked at the mirror and thought, I'll skip today. But then I remembered something. Yesterday, I was brave, just for 5 minutes. But still, brave. I didn't want to lose that feeling. So I stood there again. I said, "Good morning." I talked about my plans for the day in broken English. Today, I will eat, eggs. I will go to shop. I will clean room. My grammar was wrong. My accent was heavy. But my voice was alive. And that was the goal. Not perfection, just presence, just speaking. By day 3, I started doing something new. I looked myself in the eyes and said, "You are learning. You are not afraid." It felt strange, but also powerful. I wasn't just practicing English anymore. I was building a relationship with myself. I was teaching my brain, this is your voice, and it matters. I began to see my reflection as my practice partner. She didn't judge me. She didn't laugh. She didn't correct me harshly. She just listened. And in that quiet acceptance, I found something beautiful, courage. I remember a moment on day 4 that changed everything. I looked at myself and said, "You can speak English." And then, without thinking, I asked, "Why are you learning English?" And I answered, "Because I want to be free. I want to travel. I want to understand. I want to speak to the world." My answer came from the heart, and for the first time, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I was finally hearing my own voice say something true. Something in English. Something from me. The first week was hard. Many days I felt tired. Some days I made no progress. But I kept going. Every morning, I gave myself 5 minutes. I didn't wait to feel ready. I didn't wait to feel confident. I just stood in front of the mirror and spoke. Simple things. I like tea. This is my book. My name is Ariel. And each time I added one more sentence. Sometimes I repeated the same sentence 10 times. But that was okay. That was learning. That was practice. And you know what surprised me most? My reflection became my coach. My eyes would say, "You can do better." My mouth would say, "Let's try again." My smile would say, "You're improving." I didn't need a classroom. I didn't need a big plan. I just needed a mirror, a few words, and a little bravery. Speaking to myself in English was not a trick, it was a tool. A simple, powerful tool that changed how I saw English and how I saw myself. By day 7, I wasn't scared of my voice anymore. I didn't run from mistakes. I welcomed them. I knew that each mistake meant I was trying. And trying meant I was growing. The mirror didn't give me grammar rules. It didn't teach me vocabulary. But it gave me something more important, confidence. And confidence is the door to fluency. So if you're watching this and thinking, "Can I do this too?" Let me tell you, yes, you can. Your mirror is waiting, and your voice is ready to be heard. Chapter 2, Day 10. The mirror becomes a classroom. 10 days, 10 quiet, brave mornings. 10 times I stood in front of the mirror with no teacher, no classroom, no textbook, just my reflection and my voice. By now, the mirror didn't feel strange anymore. It wasn't just a piece of glass. It was a safe space, a secret classroom where I could be my truest self. I didn't have to impress anyone. I didn't have to be perfect. I could just try, and that changed everything. I didn't even notice it at first, but my sentences were getting longer. My words were smoother. I was not only speaking English, I was starting to feel it. I started using questions. I would look in the mirror and ask, "How are you feeling today?" Then I'd answer in English, like I was having a real conversation. "I'm a little tired, but I'm happy. Today, I want to learn more." That small exchange, me asking and me answering, felt like magic. It was real practice, not fake, not memorized. It was me creating language from my own thoughts. That is when I realized this mirror, this silent partner, had become my first English teacher. And the lessons were deep, not just words, but feelings, fears, and real-life expressions. Every day, I gave myself topics. One day I talked about food. I looked at my reflection and said, "I like rice. I don't like milk. My favorite food is bread." Another day, I talked about my past. When I was a child, I played outside every day. Then, I spoke about dreams. One day, I will go to London. I will speak English with confidence. My sentences were simple, but they were mine. I wasn't copying, I was building. And every time I made a mistake, I didn't freeze. I paused, smiled, and tried again. No, not he go, it's he goes. I corrected myself, just like a teacher would. That moment when I corrected my own English in real time was powerful. It showed me that I was learning from myself. On day 12, something incredible happened. I caught myself thinking in English. I was brushing my teeth, and suddenly my mind said, "After this, I will go drink water." I stopped. I smiled. I laughed. "Wow," I said. "That was English." It wasn't planned. It wasn't forced. It was natural. All those mirror talks were starting to grow inside my brain. My English was no longer just a subject, it was becoming my second voice. I realized that speaking in front of the mirror had trained my mind to use English in real situations. My brain was now offering English before I even asked for it. That's when I added a new layer to my mirror routine. Role play. I pretended I was in different places. At a cafe. Hello, I'd like a cup of tea, please. At the airport. Where is the check-in counter? At the doctor's office. I feel sick. I have a headache. I acted these scenes out using hand movements, facial expressions, and tone. I laughed at myself. I enjoyed it. I didn't care how silly it looked because no one was watching except the mirror, and it never judged. These small dramas became my training ground for real life. They gave me courage. They gave me preparation. They gave me the feeling I can do this in real life too. Day by day, I also noticed how my pronunciation was improving. I could see my mouth move. I could fix my sounds by watching how I said them. I would say a word, then repeat it 10 times. Comfortable, comfortable, comfort, oblil. I was not just hearing English anymore. I was seeing it, feeling it, living it. No app, no class, no pressure. Just me, my mirror, and my goal. The mirror also helped with confidence in another way. I learned how to make eye contact with myself. In the beginning, I looked away. I felt shy, but now I stared into my eyes and said, "You can do this. You are improving." I smiled at myself and felt proud. I gave myself high fives. I said, "Good job." I was learning English, yes, but I was also learning self-belief. That belief is what kept me going, even when I forgot words, even when I felt stuck. I told myself, "It's okay, try again." And I did. By day 15, something beautiful happened. I looked in the mirror and said, "I am proud of you." I had never said that to myself before. Not in my language, not in English, but now I could. And that sentence, those 5 simple words, meant everything. Because they were true. Because I had earned them. Because I was no longer just learning English. I was becoming the kind of person who doesn't give up. Chapter 3. Day 30, a new English voice is born. 30 days. One mirror. One voice that used to shake, now standing strong. When I look back, I can't believe what happened in just 1 month. At the start, I couldn't say more than 1 or 2 sentences. I felt silly. I felt nervous. But now, on day 30, I stand in front of the same mirror, and I speak for 5, even 10 minutes without stopping. I talk about my day, my feelings, my dreams. I don't freeze anymore. I don't run from hard words. I look myself in the eye and say what's in my heart in English. And that, my friend, is not just progress. That is transformation. The mirror, once cold and quiet, is now a memory of my journey. It holds the story of every mistake I made and every word I spoke with courage. I still make mistakes, yes, but now I know those mistakes mean I'm trying. And trying means growing. Today I said to myself, "You sound better. You sound confident." And I believed it, because I didn't wait for someone else to say it. I gave myself the words I used to wait for. "You're doing great." I became my own teacher, my own motivator, and my own friend. That's the power of this practice. You don't just learn English. You learn to trust yourself. Every morning now, it's automatic. I wake up, brush my teeth, and speak to the mirror like it's my old friend. Good morning. Today is a new day. Let's learn something new. I no longer feel shy. I don't worry about being wrong. I speak with love, with fun, with energy. Sometimes I even joke with myself. "Don't forget your breakfast again," I laugh. Yes, laugh. Because learning doesn't have to be scary. It can be full of joy. That mirror gave me the freedom to be myself in English. And now, I carry that freedom into the real world. I started testing myself. I talked to a shopkeeper in English. I asked for directions in English. I even spoke to a stranger online, and I was surprised by my own voice. I didn't panic. I didn't freeze. I remembered my mirror practice. I remembered how I spoke when no one was watching. And I used that same voice when the world was watching. It worked. It worked because I had trained it, not once, not twice, but 30 times. My English voice was no longer a stranger. It was a part of me. What I discovered is this: the mirror doesn't just reflect your face, it reflects your growth. When you speak to yourself every day, you are building more than language. You are building belief. You are telling your brain, I can speak, I will speak, I am not waiting anymore. You stop being a student. You become a speaker, a doer, a believer. And that change starts with one sentence, one word, one moment of courage in front of a mirror. On day 30, I did something special. I recorded myself speaking. I just pressed the button and talked for 2 full minutes. Then I watched the video. I saw someone I didn't recognize at first. She was calm. She smiled. She paused, corrected herself, and kept going. She looked like someone who had spoken English for a long time. And that someone was me. I couldn't believe it. From silence to speech in just 30 days. I didn't become perfect. I became possible. So, to you watching this video, maybe you feel like I did on day 1. Maybe you're scared. Maybe you think, talking to a mirror? That's weird. But let me tell you something. It works. It works better than you think. It helps you practice every day, without fear, without pressure, without waiting. It helps you face yourself and say, yes, I can learn English. Yes, I can speak. And when you do it every day, something magical happens. You stop pretending. You start becoming. And if you've made it to the end of this story, let me ask you, are you ready to speak to your mirror, even for 1 minute? Because if you are, your journey can begin today. You don't need a classroom. You don't need a partner. You just need a little courage, a small mirror, and your own voice. Start today. Don't wait. If this video touched your heart, inspired your English journey, or made you smile even once, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment. I'll try the mirror method. I want to hear from you, because if I can speak to myself and grow this much in 30 days, so can you. Let's keep learning together.